Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the football betting series here on YouTube, UEFA edition. We finished the league stage strong on matchday 8 and our UEFA record now stands at 30 wins, 7 losses with 4 pushes for a total UEFA profit of £359.50. I've got picks in today's episode across the Champions League, UEFA Europa League and the Conference League as well. So if you think I'm talking some sense, please drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more content. Without further ado, let's get things started. We kick things off in the Champions League as Brest host PSG, and Brest qualified for the knockout stages by finishing 18th in the league stage. They had an overall record of 4 wins, 1 draw and 3 defeats, scoring 10 and allowing 11 for a -1 goal difference. After starting the campaign off with back-to-back wins and 3 wins in 4, Brest did slip out of the top 8 with a run of 3 losses in 4 games. That does include defeats to the El Clasico sides as well as Shakhtar Donetsk. They host a PSG side who turns their European campaign around to finish 15th in the league. 4 wins, 1 draw and 3 defeats to their name. They did outscore their opponents by 14 goals to 9 for a +5 goal difference. Following an opening day win, PSG went the next 4 matches without a victory before ripping off 3 wins in a row to secure their spot in the knockout stages. When we look at the head-to-head record, Brest hosted PSG literally 1 day after the Champions League draw was made to give us a real preview of what to expect here. Ousmane Dembele scored a hat-trick and Gonzalo Ramos netted a brace towards the end of the match to overpower Brest, with PSG winning the match by 5 goals to 2. In terms of the records, this win now means that PSG have won each of the last 3 against Brest and 17 of the last 18 encounters against their hosts. They're also unbeaten in the last 20 competitive encounters. My prediction for today's game is that these sides will come into this match on contrasting Champions League form. Brest have lost 3 of the last 4, but PSG have won each of the last 3. Additionally, PSG not only have a winning streak, but also a long unbeaten run against their hosts today, so I think we're going to be looking at the away side to pick up a win. I'm going to back that for a full stake here in bet number 1. Our second selection sees Sporting Lisbon playing host to Borussia Dortmund, and Sporting managed to grab an equalising goal on the final day of the league phase to qualify in 23rd place to the knockout rounds. Overall, their record was 3 wins, 2 draws and 3 defeats. They scored 13 and allowed 12 for a +1 goal difference. After an unbeaten start with 3 wins in 4 to open the campaign, following the departure of Ruben Amorim to Manchester United, Sporting then went winless in their last 4. They lost 3 matches in that sample and slid all the way down the league and almost out of the Champions League. They host a Borussia Dortmund side who were just 1 point shy of the top 8, 5 wins, 0 draws but 3 defeats to their name, scoring the second most goals in the league stage with 22 and allowing 12 for a +10 goal difference. Patchy and inconsistent would be the words used to describe Borussia Dortmund's form. 2 wins in a row, then a loss, then another 2 wins, then 2 losses and a final day win against Shakhtar Donetsk. Although considering 2 of these losses came against the El Clasico side, maybe the form's not quite as bad as it first appears on paper. When we look at the head-to-head record, these sides faced off in the group stage of the 2021-2022 edition of the Champions League. Borussia Dortmund won the first encounter in Dortmund by 1 goal to 0 thanks to Donyell Malen. Then the reverse fixture saw Sporting Lisbon win by 3 goals to 1. A Gonçalves brace and a Porro goal had the Portuguese side up 3 goals to 0 before Malen added a consolation in stoppage time. And it was this win that was vital for Sporting as they pipped Borussia Dortmund on goal difference to qualify second in the group just behind Ajax as Dortmund dropped into the Europa League. Longer term though, Dortmund have won 3 of the last 4 as they did pick up 2 wins in the 2016-2017 group stage of the Champions League. My prediction for today's game is that neither side can really be trusted based on their recent Champions League form. Dortmund have had the better campaign, but both of these sides' level of inconsistency does leave me scratching my head. One thing I am sure of is that both sides are stronger in the attacking department than the defensive one, so I'm going to be looking for both teams to score here. Sporting Lisbon have seen both teams to score in each of the last 5 Champions League matches. Across the league stage, they've seen both teams to score in 6 of the 8 games played. And also, when we look at the home record, both teams to score have come in 3 of the last 4 home games, with Sporting's only clean sheet coming against a 10-man Lille side. Whereas Borussia Dortmund have seen both teams to score in each of the final 3 games of the league stage, and in 5 of the 8 matches in the league overall. On the road, just 2 of the last 4 Champions League matches have seen both teams to score, but these were clean sheets against Club Brugge, who just edged qualification, and Dinamo Zagreb, who failed to qualify. against a stronger quality of opposition, Dortmund have always conceded. When we look at the head-to-head record, both of the encounters in Portugal have seen both teams to score with an average of 3.5 goals. However, I would take this record with a pinch of salt, as both of these matches took place 4 and 9 years ago. With all of this in mind, I really do like both teams to score in this one, and I will back it for a full stake in bet number 2. Moving on to the Europa League now, RZ play host to Galatasaray, and RZ, they lost on the final day of the league stage to Ferencváros of Hungary, and RZ finished 17th overall in the league stage with 4 wins, 0 draws, but 4 defeats to their name. They have a great record of 15 goals, but also conceded 15 goals across the 8 matches. RZ won their first match of the Europa League, but 1 win in 5 after then really put the Dutch side in a pickle. They're a model of inconsistency, but they have done enough to reach the knockout phases. They host a Galatasaray side who managed to finish 13th in the league stage with 3 wins, 4 draws and just 1 defeat to their name. They scored 19, which was the most in the tournament, but they also allowed 16, which is one of the worst records, especially amongst teams that qualified for the knockout rounds. Much like RZ though, Galatasaray struggled to pick up as many wins as perhaps they deserved. The Turkish side did win 3 of their first 4 matches, but then none of their last 4, hence the slip down to 13th. When we look at the head-to-head records, the one and only time these sides have played was earlier this year in the Europa League. RZ took the lead through Sven Mayans after just 2 minutes in a first half in which, looking at the stats, the Dutch dominated. However, Victor Osimhen did manage to equalise just before half-time to bring the scores level at the interval, and looking at the stats, this goal did really mark a change of momentum here. Galatasaray generated 3 times the amount of shots with over 10 times the amount of XG in the second period, but the Turks were unable to find that second goal, with the scores finishing level at 1-1. My prediction for today's game is that form is inconsistent between both sides in European competition, but based on the sheer amount of goals that these sides have both scored and allowed, I am looking at both teams to score here. RZ have seen both teams to score in 5 of their 8 Europa League matches, and in 3 of their last 4 in Alkmaar, whereas Galatasaray have seen both teams net in all 8 Europa League matches, which obviously includes a 4 out of 4 record on the road. When we look at the head-to-head record in the 1 match played, the scores finished 1-1, so both teams to score also came in there. And I really do think this tie will be settled by who scores the most goals instead of keeping a clean sheet. I expect both sides to register here in the opening leg. However, at the time of recording, the odds are not up yet, so I will add that to a pinned comment down below. But I will be backing both teams to score for a full stake here in bet number 3. In addition to the 2 Champions League pick and 1 Europa League pick, I also have 3 Conference League selections for this round of fixtures. However, without the odds up on Betfair, and images being quite hard to come across, I've omitted that part from the video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a pinned comment down below and the odds to be updated when they go live on Betfair. So apologies for that, but if you have made it to this point in the video, please drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more content. And as always, have yourself a lovely day.